Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please y'all like, share, comment, subscribe, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Tesla. And Tesla, y'all, I say it so often, Tesla just does what Tesla does, right? We came off of a 347 low up to a 368 high, back down to around the 361. We closed at 362.89. That's interesting, right? So where are we now? Where are the possible trouble places? It seems as if we bounced off of this ATR trail and stop. Is it going to continue back to the upside, or is this going to be a rejection place for us back to the downside? Seems like we're having a little trouble here pre-market at this 365 area. So that is a resistance area for us around the 365.50, 365. Let's see, 365.56, almost the same, right? So trouble places to the upside, 365.56. If we should break that area, 366.84. Should we break that, 368.52, breaking that area, we could possibly come up to this 371 or the 370.85 area. Now, should we break that, we could possibly, there's a few layers of resistance here, 371.61, 372.62, 373.04. Breaking that brings us back to around the 374.36. 374.36. Should we break that, y'all, we could very well come back to around this 378.91. Keep in mind, we could very well get stopped out anywhere between that 374.36 up to that 378.91. So those are your possible rejection areas for Tesla. Now back to the downside, there's a lot of support here. So we have the 5 EMA, the 20 EMA, and a previous level that I have marked here at the 363.81. So should we break that, 363.33, under that 362.79. Now breaking that 362.79, we could very well come back to the 362. Breaking that brings us back to kind of like where we were here at the ATR trailing stop, 361.07. Now that's the ATR trailing stop and the 50 EMA. In my opinion, that's going to be a strong support place for Tesla, as it showed us here. Now under that let's say 361.01 or 361.07 area, there's a lot of layers of support right here for Tesla. Let's see, starting with the 360.64, 360.01, 359.63, 359.10, 358.48, again at 357.99, 357.11, 356.41, 355.83. So those are possible support areas for Tesla as of right now. Let's say that we could very well come down, find support as we have done here before. So should we lose the area of 355.83, we could very well come back to around 353.44. And if we lose that area, 351.88, breaking that area of 351.88, we can come back to around this area of 350.61. What would be interesting is y'all see that 200 EMA is really close to a level that I have marked at the 350.02. So again, y'all, Tesla does what Tesla does. If that's something that you trade today, I said trade carefully. In this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. So we are looking at the SPY. We closed at 591.15, and I always say, where are the trouble places? It looks as if we made a pre-market high of 591.91, but it looks like we got rejected, only to come back. The 5 EMA as of now is going to be our support area, 591.23. So back to the upside, we will need to break back above 591.57. Should we break that, 591.91, that is a rejection area for us. We see it here and we see it over here, so that's something to be mindful of. Breaking that 591.91, 592.62 could be a resistance area for us. 593.30 could be a rejection area. 594.17, breaking that area, we could come back to around the 594.96 and breaking that 595.91. Breaking beyond that 595.91, there's a few layers here. I would say around the 596.70 1 area, we could possibly have trouble with the SPY, and if we should break that, we could possibly have trouble again around the 598.04. So if you're trading the SPY today, those are possible rejection areas for us. Now back to the downside. If by chance we break under 590.89, keep in mind that 20 EMA as of right now is at 590.71. That could be a support area. Breaking that brings us back to around 590.16. Now, should we break that, you see the 50 EMA and the ATR trailing stop is at the 589.49 area. In my opinion, that's going to be a strong support area for us. Now, should we lose this area, we could very well come back to this 589.20, not far away, and find support. So there's a lot of support for the SPY right here in this 589.49 down to the 589.20 area. Breaking that brings us back to 588.92. Should we break that level, 588.38, and then breaking that 588.13, should we break that, 587.58, and breaking that level brings us back to 587.20, not far from this 200 EMA at the 587 area. Breaking that 587, I have the next level of 586.67, and as you can see, y'all, there's a few layers of support here for the SPY that could very well, we can come down and find support. Should we lose this 200 EMA, and under this level of 586.67, we could very well find support at 586.30, 586.15, again at 585.74, 585.56, 585.29, 585 even. So if you are trading the SPY today, I say trade carefully, y'all. And again, I look at support and resistance on a much smaller scale. Why? Because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are, right? But I say so often in this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. Let me say that. So we are now looking at NVDA. We closed at 135.50, and it too seems to have bounced off of the ATR trailing stop, only to move back to the upside. It looks like we were having trouble at this 136.77, and as you can see, I have the 136.67, not very far, so we knew we could possibly have trouble in this area. So where are the trouble places for NVDA today? If we should break back above the 136.77, we could possibly have trouble again at 136.99, again at 137.14, 137.46, breaking that 137.46, we could very well come back to 138.46. Keep in mind there's a big distance, between this here of 137.46 up to the 138.46, so we could very well get stopped out in between that. Just keep that in mind. Now, if we should break that 138.46 area, we could possibly have trouble 138.57, 138.78, and again 139.12. So if you're trading NVDA today, those are possible rejection areas to the upside. Beyond that 139.12, we could possibly have trouble 139.58, and again at 140. Now back to the downside. Let's say if we break under this 136.44, we can very well come back to this area here and find support around the 136.17. Should we break that, we have the 20 EMA as of now. That could be a support area for us. 136.04, breaking that level. 135.67. Should we break that level, I have the level here of 135.46, and as you can see, that 50 EMA is at the 135.52, so that could be an area, and the ATR is not far from that, which is forming at the 135.17. So in my opinion, this is going to be a strong support area for NVDA as of right now, 135.52 down to the 135.20 area. Now, should we break this 135.20 back to the downside, we could very well find support around 134.91. Breaking that brings us back to 134.54, and if we should lose that level, you see the 200 EMA is right here at a level that I had marked at 134.01. I like to see that, y'all. So if we should break this 134.01, 134.03 area, we could very well come back to around 133.70 and again at 133.47. So if you are trading NVDA today, those are possible areas of rejection to the upside and to the downside. And y'all know I say so often, not financial advice, and in this market anything is possible, nothing is guaranteed. So let's look at AMD today just to see where we are. We closed at 114.56, and it looks as if we're getting rejected at this 115.81 area. We've hit that a few times only to get rejected, maybe twice, yes. only to get rejected. So where are the possible trouble places? So I have here at 115.79, but the next place is at 116.86. Well, y'all know we could get stopped out anywhere in between this line. So should we break out beyond the 116.86, we could very well have trouble around 117.38, 117.59, 118.25. If we break the 118.25 area for AMD, 118.66, again 119.03, 119.37. Should we break that area, we could possibly have trouble again 120.03, and if we break that 120.68. So if you're trading AMD today, those are possible rejection areas to the upside. Now to the downside, if by chance we break under the 115.20, we could very well come back to 114.83, and as you can see, y'all, we came down to this line and bounced. That's a good example here. That's why it's so important that we mark our support and our resistance. I say that often. Now if we break under, let's say the 114.83, the ATR trailing stop in that 50 EMA and a previous support line that I had marked here of 114.61. So we definitely need to watch this area if you're trading AMD. Again, not financial advice. At that 114.60, there's a lot of support in this area. Should we break that level, we could very well come back to around the 114.28, and breaking that brings us back to 113.83. Again here at, let's say, 113.56. If we should break that area, the 200 EMA as of now is at the 113.25, which is not far from a level that I have marked here at 113.01. Now, should we break that 113.01 for AMD, we could very well come back to around the 112.01, and again here at 111.42. So if you're trading AMD today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside that we could possibly have trouble. I always say, yeah, where are the trouble places, right? So we are looking at Meta. We closed at 642.32, and it's been trading sideways. So is it setting us up for a strong move up or a strong move down? That's something to be mindful of, right? So it looks as if I have this area of 642.60 as a rejection area. Well, price came up to 643.30. Something stopped us at that place. So I definitely need to remember that. I say that often. Once it shows me an area that it stopped, I need to remember that. Why? Because there's a strong possibility that we're going to come back to that area again. Now, back to the upside, it will need to get back above 642.60. Our rejection area was around the 643.30, so that could possibly be another rejection area we could possibly break through, right? So if we should break that area, then it's going to be something in between here that could possibly stop us out before we get to our next level of resistance around the 645.83. So should we break the 645.83, I have the 648.31 for Meta. Again, something could very well stop us out in between that, so be prepared. Anything is possible. Should we break that level of 648.34, I have the next level of 651.55, could be a rejection area. Should we break that level, 654.04 could be a rejection area, and if we break that, I have around the 655.22. breaking that level, 657.64 could be a rejection area. Those are resistance areas for Meta. Now to the downside, under the 641.47, we have the 20 EMA around the 641.17 area. Should we break that, I'm going to use this area here of 640.47. Why? Because price has been gathering in this area here for a while. So that's kind of like filling in those gap places here. So around the 640.42 could be a support area, not far from the 50 EMA as of now. Now, should we lose this area around the 640.09, y'all see where the ATR trailing stop is and a previous level that I have marked here at 639.11. So that, in my opinion, is going to be a strong support area for Meta as of right now. Should we break that, it brings us back to this level of 637.38, which is right where the 200 EMA is. So we definitely need to watch it. Should we lose the level of where the ATR trailing stop is around the 639.05 area or 639.11 area, we could very well come back to around the 637.30. Breaking that brings us back to 635.49, losing that level 633.80, and if we should lose that level, we could very well come back to this area of 632.75. I need to mark that. Why? Because price stopped us there for a reason, right? So should we break that 632.75 area, we can come back to around 630.17. So if you are trading Meta today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. And y'all know I say so often, in this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. Make sure you set your stop losses, or whatever it is that you choose to use. Make sure you have the discipline to exit your trade at the right time and enter your trade at the right time. So again, y'all, I hope that everyone have a very profitable day, a very, very productive day today. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. So until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.